Hello there wrestling fans, Adam from What Culture here. Hope you're all having a fine day today. I'm here to bring you all of the ups and all of the downs from last night's episode of NXT. Now, last week we had this many downs because it was just so bloody good. However, the big question is, going into the Valentine's Day episode of NXT, was it going to be all love from your boy Adam Nicholas, or were we going to experience a little bit of heartbreak? Well, let's find out, shall we? First up, we have the UK Championship match between the champion Pete Dunne and the challenger Roderick Strong. Now, after Strong took on Tyler Bate last week, which was an excellent match by the way, you should definitely check that out if you haven't already, I was looking forward to seeing the Messiah of the Backbreaker take on another of the UK's finest. It was a decent performance from both men. The match itself was slow, it was methodical, the fans seemed sort of in and out of it, they weren't totally sold on it, but it was excellent and I actually enjoyed it because it was a nice change of pace, and actually sometimes that's better than just fast-paced spot after spot, which we get a lot of these days. Strong managed to find a way through the Brits' bag of tricks on a number of occasions, and it's safe to say the worst spot of the night was probably where he picked Dunne up, caught him mid-flight, and smashed his back off the corner of a set of steel steps. That one genuinely had me reaching for my own back. After that nasty spot, it was all Roddy Strong. He managed to take control, and in the latter stage of the match, he was absolutely all over Pete Dunne. A powerful offense, a barrage of backbreakers, but good old Pete Dunne ain't a champion for nothing, brother, and he managed to outsmart and outmaneuver the American, who looked like he was about to get the win. Pete Dunne with a quick finger click on Roddy Strong. Oh, looked painful. Strong was distracted, and he managed to hit the bitter end for the 1, 2, 3. A good match, yes, certainly not the best that either man has had in NXT, but nevertheless a stellar showing from both men, and more importantly, it's an up from me. It's always a pleasure to see the Velveteen Dream, but it's even better when he comes bearing gifts. And on this particular day, Valentine's Day, of course, the day of sharing and loving, etc., etc., he gave us something rather delightful. After commenting on his match next week with No Way Jose, more importantly, he was talking about a future match, or potential future match, with Tyler Bate. He issued a challenge to the young Brit, basically saying that he wasn't on his level, and if he wants to talk the talk, he better walk the walk. Well, I don't know about you guys, but for me, that is a match that I would very much be down for, or, should more fittingly say, a match I would very much be up for. Now, I'm not really sure how I feel about the approach they're taking with these Aleister Black in-ring promos at the moment. It's a tough one. I like the approach of him in the all-black suit. I think that's great. I think that's a good look for him, and it suits his character down to a T. But I feel like they're making him say a bit much. He's mysterious, he's aloof. We don't need to hear from him all the time, and it's nicer when he's just this sort of presence, but we're not really sure what's going on. Now, don't get me wrong, please don't get me wrong. I like what he's saying. I like a lot of the stuff that Aleister Black says, and most of the time, they're spot on. But at the moment, it seems like they're trying to give us more of his character by having him talk more, when actually I think, in this character's case, less is more. And it sometimes feels like they're giving words to a man who doesn't necessarily need them. With that said though, like it or not, the man from Amsterdam had a very clear message this week in his promo. He had a devil on his back, he said, and it was the NXT title. But before he could elaborate any further, he was interrupted by one Killian Dane. The Beast of Belfast wasted little time getting to the ring, getting in the face of Aleister Black and telling him that he too wanted the NXT title and that the Dutchman was mistaken. The devil on his back wasn't the NXT title, it was him. I feel like Dane's mic work was much more purposeful here. He laid down the gauntlet to Aleister Black, and it now looks like we're going to be getting those two in a match. The Battle of the Beards, that's going to be great, and they're going to decide who will be next in line for a shot at Andrade Cien Almas's NXT title at NXT TakeOver New Orleans. And you know what that means? Up. We had another match for TM6-1 this week as they continue their slow build back to the tag team title picture. A great performance from them, very simple, nothing fancy, and it was against enhancement talents John Schuyler and Andrew Duckworth. Nothing fancy to report here, just getting those important reps on the board. Miller and Thorne both look great, TM6-1 got the victory, and all in all, just a nice little look. Now recently these two have produced some of the best storytelling, wrestling and promo work in NXT, perhaps Johnny Gargano to one side, and this very much continued last night. Their rematch for the NXT women's title was hotly anticipated, and it's fair to say while it was a short match, it wasted very little time in getting straight to the action. Moon exploded out of her corner, she was not messing around, she had Baszler reeling from the off, the Queen of Spades had to get out of the ring to avoid a very early Eclipse attempt. Moon then went off the ropes, suicide dive out the ropes, smashed into Baszler, absolutely nailed her with that, but at what cost? She had a heavily taped arm. When she smashed into her with the suicide dive, she was suddenly in a tremendous amount of pain. Who'd have ever thought it, eh? And then from there, it was all Shayna Baszler. The submission magician tormented Ember Moon throughout the match, had her arm in a number of different holds, the submissions that she's obviously famous for. And then when they spilled out to the outside, at one point she had Moon's arm in the railing and was mercilessly pulling her arm. It looked very painful indeed. A nice little glimpse into the sick and twisted side of the Queen of Spades. And to be honest, I loved it. I'm loving all these bits with Shayna Baszler. She is coming across like an absolute badass. But just before she could do any permanent damage, tearing that arm through the railings, who should turn up? Who reappeared but Kairi Sane? Now these two have got history. Sane and Baszler obviously competed against each other in the Mae Young Classic in the final. Obviously, we know that Kairi Sane won that one, but in this particular instance, I think she was more angry because Baszler had choked her out a few weeks back, maybe a month ago back actually. Anyway, Sane attacked her, she beat her off, fended her away from Ember Moon, made the save. Obviously, Baszler won the match by DQ, but that wasn't the important thing here. The important thing is, where are they going from here? We've got the Pirate Princess, we've got the Submission Magician, and we want to see where they're going moving forward. Another stellar match from these two women, or three women if you include Kairi Sane as well in that, and all in all, doesn't matter how many women there is, all that matters is we've got this, and that is one great big fat juicy up. And finally, begrudgingly, somewhat disappointingly, I have managed to find a down in this week's episode of NXT. Now I know we had no downs last week, and I know it's all about the love because it was the Valentine's Day episode, but I needed a down, to be fair. Sometimes you need to be grounded, and actually, it wasn't that I was looking for it necessarily, it just happened to fall into my lap. I am, of course, talking about the absence of Undisputed Era from the show. Now, before you dive down my throat, listen to what I have to say. When you have a team that is as red hot as Undisputed Era are, whether it's just a small match, a small segment, a promo, whatever it is, you want those guys on your TV screen every goddamn week because they are that fucking good. So the absence of Undisputed Era and subsequently not being able to hear their beloved entrance music, which is so fucking wonderful, it's going to have to be a down, I'm afraid. And that is a wrap for this week's episode of Ups and Downs for NXT. Now, I know, it's never nice to end on a downer. We know that. Don't guilt me. Stop it, Hank. You be better, all right? It's hard being in these shoes. I don't like giving downs, but sometimes you got to, all right? You just stick to doing the comments. Bye. Getting way too big for his boots, that guy. But yes, it was a great episode of NXT, despite that one little hiccup, the little down on the road to success. What did you think, though? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Hank will be there to read them, won't you? Yeah, because you can't stop working, can you? Because you can't afford it, because you're a dirty little peasant who does all the horrible jobs. Ha 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 ha! Fucking Hank, eh? What a guy. Anyway, if you want more stuff like this, including the NXT Ups and Downs article, head over to whatculture.com right now, and also head over to our Twitter page and give us a follow at whatculturewwe. My name is Adam Nicholas, this has been NXT Ups and Downs, and as always, not you, this isn't your line, stop it! Stop it! As always, have a fucking great day.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe below, and if you're looking for more content like this, then try a few things that are floating about around my ears. It might be fun. I can't promise it though, but it might be.